Hi there, welcome everyone to Gear News coverage of Namm 2021. We're super excited this morning by three synthesizers that have just been announced by Korg. Super excited. Robin, what's your take? You've had a quick look at the three new releases. What's your takeaway?
Oh, it's exhausting to be sort of pummeled with these three things straight away. I mean, some of them we kind of might have thought were potential possibilities, and other ones are just completely out of the blue. It's quite a morning for Korg. I feel elevated, and I feel legendary. I feel reborn, reshaped, and futuristically motion sequenced.
Yeah, we're going to have a look first at the ARP 2600M, a smaller version of the ARP 2600 FS that was announced last year. Let's take a look at the promo video.
Patch cables, lights,
Yes,
modular stuff.
And some I/O.
Ooh,
they don't really need to hide it at this point.
A legend
I don't
reborn
think.
again. A legend reborn again.
There she is.
mini ARP.
There's the big version in the background.
Yep. Still got a little speaker in the front by the looks of things.
It does, yeah. I mean, classy is the first thing that comes up. I mean, obviously, there's going to be comparisons with the Behringer 2600, inevitably. And
Right.
what this says to me immediately is that this feels like a classy, vintage, serious, beautiful piece of equipment. The Behringer is kind of a Christmas tree of fun and excitement and kind of gaushiness. Its light and its colors and all that sort of thing. So I feel Korg have done what they were supposed to do. They've done it right. They've produced one which is going to be a bit more mass market, a little bit more mass market, and is going to reach a lot more places for people who feel they need something a bit more authentic. Whether the sound is there or not, it has this authenticity, this vibe to it that I think can't be touched.
Is it accessible enough at that price point, though, the Mini? That's my worry, because if you're a real synth elitist, aren't you going to go, well, I want the authentic full-size one and nothing else will do?
Sure, but that's like $3.5 grand. This is $17.99, I think, which is still premium.
It's
not
still
premium.
very premium, isn't it?
Very much premium, absolutely.
Yeah. But that's the I don't know. I mean, that's the balance between do you look at the cut price stuff with Behringer, or do you look at something which is more authentic? But then why is it authentic? I mean, Korg said something very interesting that I think is quite important, which is that their current batch of engineers cut their analog teeth on the Monotron, which is like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And they only feel that now they're really in a position to reproduce these sorts of analog synthesizers because they now their engineers have all this experience behind them and have been working through that.
I just so happen to have a Monotron here.
Nice.
Just really cool piece of kit, but like you say, it's mad because these are a decade old now, aren't they?
But they've worked through this, and they have the experience and the history and all those kind of things are coming together to produce these things. They're not trying to produce a cut price synthesizer with as cheapest bits as they can possibly find. They're trying to replicate something which is almost uncapturable in a legendary synthesizer.
And I think you're absolutely right, is that Korg have now become a premium brand. You go back 30 odd years ago and these Japanese synths were the affordable alternative to the Moogs, the Oberheims, the Sequentials, but Korg's a premium brand now. So why not if they're delivering premium branding of a premium good? Makes sense, I guess.
I miss the handle on the top. It's a shame it's supposed to be more portable, but they're including with it some kind of like traveling case that looks like something you drag through an airport.
I always travel with my modular synth, Robin, don't you?
I don't travel.
Okay, cool. 2600M. We knew this was going to come. Still, I think super desirable. And let's have a look at the next one. Now, this is goes in a very different direction. We didn't see this one coming, Robin. It's very much an unexpected release. It's called the Modwave, and right now I'm gonna try and launch the video, and we're gonna have a look at what Korg call an edgy, expansive, and easy to use wavetable synth. Let's have a look.
Oh, look, it says so right there.
It does.
It's true.
Just in case you didn't know what to say about it.
I love the blue Knight Rider sequencer. I mean, they're really going after the 30-something synthwave producer with this, aren't they? And yeah, you know.
That's the orange buttons as well. It's the overall vibe. It's nerdy, but it's also cool. Chaos physics.
What are chaos physics?
I don't know, but it says chaos physics based modulator. I have no idea what that is, but
it's flick modulation. You set a ball going and it bounces around under gravity and friction and inertia, things like that, and that is then modulating whatever the heck you like.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean it's in the same form as the Op6 and the wave state. They're obviously going for a bit of a thing with that, I imagine. But yeah, impressive. It pulls all the wavetables out of the DW8000, which is, you know, one of the most horrible synthesizers to use on the planet. But that was the 80s, man. That's what we did then. We just bashed ourselves in the heads with interfaces, thinking we don't need knobs. We don't.
It was the era of the single encoder, wasn't it? And that's all you needed. You were machine, that was machine. As you pointed out, machine.
Yes, exactly. We were convinced we were interfacing directly with.
It was the future.
Yeah, but no, thankfully now we like knobs. We've decided that hands are good, fingers are good. So it has a lot of that stuff going on. A lot of morphableness, layering up wavetables. There's a whole stack in there. You can import your own wavetables. It's even got a sample bank in the background for adding stuff behind it. It's a lot of wavetables. I mean, those wavetables seem to be in vogue at the moment with the Hydrasynth and the modal electronic stuff. So
I like it. I'd like to get my hands on one and actually play around with one. But I mean, I'm sort of sold on the concept. Price wise, it's an interesting price point, I think, isn't it, Robin?
It's about $799. I hear told. So, you know, it's still, I mean, it's around the Hydrasynth and modal argon type area. And it will be interesting to see exactly what it can offer around those things. They make a lot of their motion sequencer. The fact that you've got at least 4 lanes, if not more, of stuff that you're per step modulating all over the place. So that can be a lot of fun, along with the performance controls like the Chaos XY pad. You know, who knows what kind of weirdness you can be putting out of this fella.
And don't forget the chaos physics, Robin.
Indeed.
Everyone needs some chaos physics in their music. Bouncing ball. Introduce Pong into your synthwave.
Yeah, totally.
I'm interested by that. My interest is peaked. I'd love to get hands on with one of those.
Yeah, me too. Also a price point, I think. It's from Korg. It looks like it's the business. There's a lot of vibe going on. It's nerdy but cool, combining those two kind of elements at the same time. Now that was the Modwave. Let's have a look at the third one of these three new synths, and this one goes in a completely different direction. We're dialing back at least a decade to have a look at the miniKorg 700 FS. Revel in the revival. It's the 1970s.
Oh, it's
brown
got
and yellow. It's LP, vinyl, hairy, Polaroid. 1970s. No, it's 2021.
Oh no! Get out of town! I can buy this now.
Oh, it looks like my dad's old hi-fi. I mean, come on.
But
last time you saw one of these, it was some hairy git on a stage.
But isn't this great?
On the Isle of Man or something, whittling over his organ.
This one's polarizing as immediately, isn't it? I can see this. I can see this.
I mean, it's beautiful. It's a work of art, without a doubt. But for whom?
Me.
For where?
I want one on top of my Hammond downstairs.
Well, having a Hammond is probably a prerequisite, I should think. But you also need to have a New York apartment overlooking Central Park, I feel.
I haven't got one of those.
Well, then you don't really qualify.
Is that what happens? You walk into the shop and they say, "Do you have a New York apartment and a Hammond?" And
Yeah, pretty much. It needs that environment.
But do we think that this is, if I'm, I'm more of a guitarist, and is this going to be something that's maybe more for me? If I, I don't know.
I mean, look, the 700 has a really famous list of users because it was one of the cheapest mono synths, right? So you've got a lot of those first generation synth pop bands like the Human League, who used the miniKorg and the 700 a lot. Daniel Miller used it with all the normal stuff. So, it's another interesting thing with a vintage reissue synth with perhaps a unique sound that we subconsciously know that hasn't been available unless you get hold of one of the originals. Now, I've not checked the pricing of an original 700 recently, but as with anything vintage analog, I wouldn't be surprised if it's more than the cost of this new one.
Well, someone on Facebook said they sold one 5 years ago for 150 quid.
Cool.
No way.
Oh, you shame.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think what's beautiful about it perhaps is that in like the organ vibe, it will make a sound. It's not like a mini Moog where you have to try, how do I get sound out of it? And I've got to do this, I've got to open that bit and wire that bit. Or like the ARP, we've got to patch the thing together in the first place.
Yeah,
with this, it's going to make a noise, not a massive range of tones, but it's going to make that synth lead sound that's going to sound fantastic.
And some basses. I'm sure you're going to get some great bass sounds out of that as well. So leads and basses. I think for me, this is the one that pulls me in, that I connect with most of these three. I think it's super desirable. The case, the styling, the whole thing.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Look at that, isn't it? Oh, it's fantastic.
It's utterly gorgeous. It's utterly gorgeous. It's very much a, do I need this? No. Do I want it? Yes.
Well, you see, you're going to get one, and then you can be going, well, I need some kind of electric piano or organ. I have to have one of those now. And in some ways, it's a shame that the Korg SV2, which is their gorgeous retro stage piano, it's got a curved top, so it ain't going to work. They're going to have to develop some kind of steadying interface to be able to put one on top of the other.
I bet there's going to be an accessory that comes so that you can mount it on top of the SV2.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like a $2,000 organ accessory.
Oh, well, possibly that as well. Maybe they'll do some like curved chrome leg stand that costs a fortune as well. Who knows? Yes. But no, I love that. I really do.
So what do we say? What are we thinking about Korg? I mean, this is, this is a very powerful statement, I think. I mean, this is big news. 3 synths go in very different directions. One of those we knew was going to, the other two, weren't expected. Robin, what do you reckon? Korg is back, as 2021 is going to be their year. What do you reckon?
Well, I mean, no, I think Korg are steady on their trajectory. I think they've been up in their game since the Minilog, really, because you've had the Minilog, then the Minilog XD, the Pro logs came along, then we had the ARP and the Wave State, and then the Op6, and now they are just continuing to soar. I think.
Yeah,
I mean, I might suggest even going as far back as the Volkers and the Monotron, right? They were one of the first companies in the last decade to go, we're going to make an affordable analog-based synth. And then they started following that up with just more and more interesting designs. I don't think Korg can put a foot wrong at the moment. I've not seen them drop the ball so far. So it's exciting to see them keeping up the momentum with these from my point of view.
Yeah, and also they're offering different things. I mean, the miniKorg is a limited edition. It will be sold out in a couple of days. None of us are ever going to get to play one. It will go to the same places that the original 2600 FS went to. Which actually, that's the point. The FS.
The FS, that's right.
FS, because we talked about this before. In the FS first turned up on the Odyssey that they did, and they did, when they first released the Odyssey, they did a mini version, and it's all right. And then they released the FS version with full-size keys. And now they've done the FS also on the ARP. And now they've released a non-FS, which is a mini one. So does that mean we're going to get a mini one of these, a mini Korg?
Ooh.
I don't know whether that's a good idea or not, because it's it's that hardware is something special about it.
Here's a thought: is that, as Angus has said, if this has appealed to your kind of indie guitarist fan base, remember how popular the microKorg became with all the instruments, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
absolutely.
massively. It just became the default indie synth, didn't it? So,
one synth. Yeah, if you had one synth in a guitar band 10, 15 years ago, it was going to be that. Absolutely.
Yeah, so maybe there might be they can't call it a microKorg, can they? Because they've already done a microKorg. But maybe if there was a miniKorg that was the size of a microKorg, at a more accessible price, perhaps. Yeah. I don't know.
Super interesting. Thanks very much, you guys, for sharing your insights. And yeah, make sure you guys check back onto gearnews.com to check out our ongoing coverage of NAMM 2021. Thanks very much, and see you soon.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers.